Hello and welcome to today's live stream video. Today I'm going to be showing you a pretty amazing pony, and this is Muffin, and I'm going to take Muffin for a little ride in a little bit. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and kind of, I don't know, she's a pretty cool pony, but she's definitely not here for everyone. Or she's definitely, I'm reading as I'm trying to talk. She is definitely not a good pony for everyone. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that and how the pony kind of ended up with a bad rap, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll answer some questions. So if you're new here, my name is Brandy, and this channel is all about horses, everything horse related, okay? So if you're interested in horses, this is a good place to be. Now, while this whole coronavirus is going on, I've been doing live stream videos Monday through Friday, and then I'm also bringing you videos on the weekend that I've edited. So now today, I'm excited because I have a new microphone that I can wear when I ride. So I'm gonna check it out and see if it works. So you guys are gonna have to tell me if it's working, if it's not, how I can improve things, go from there. So, okay, well, hi everybody. Hi Tracy, hi Janet, hi Jay, hi Lucas, thank you. Hi Rex, thanks so much for joining. I'm really excited to work with Muffin today. So I started grooming her a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish that up, and so you guys can kind of see the tail end of my grooming process. And hi Lily, hi Vic, hi Joyce, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'm so glad you could be here. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish up. All right, so you guys can kind of talk amongst yourselves while I'm working on this. It's such a nice day today. Well, I say nice, but it's like 40 degrees and it's pretty chilly. But it's nice out. Like, it's nice working weather to be outside, and it's so quiet. I really needed a good, quiet night, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to put you guys right behind her hind end. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining. You guys can be right here. You can see her good. That way you can see both sides of what's going on. So I just kind of took the shedding blade after Muffin real quick just to get, the loose stuff off her. There really wasn't much. Oh, but she's so dirty. Muffin has some of the nicest feet in my barn. She's got wonderful feet. Thank you for tooting right in my face. That's great. And I just trimmed her one day last week, so if you want to see her get her feet trimmed, the video is called Trimming a Naughty Pony, but it's because I trimmed Daisy as well, so don't think it was Muffin that was naughty, even though she really wasn't all that great. I mean, she moved around a little bit, which is not like her, so. Now, this time of year, I really want to get their feet picked out good, and trying to get some airflow to the bottom of the feet because they're really prone to getting thrush this time of year. Mine are usually all pretty good and don't get it, but we also pick their feet up pretty frequently and ride them around on this dry sand, and that seems to do the trick. A lot of exercise is also good because it gets circulation going to the foot. You see that? She just tooted my face again, both hind feet. It's almost like it's a thing between horses. Like they all tell each other, okay, you make sure to toot in her face. I did it last time. You got to make sure to do it this time. It's like pony code. See how she kind of pulled it back for me? I'm going to pick it up again. I want to make sure that they pick it up and set it down nice. But Muffin likes to, she's kind of like the type that likes to have the last word. See what I mean? Now, I got to show you guys this. Look at it. They got to make sure I'm doing everything right. Now, I'm going to ride Muffin today with a bareback pad. I'd ride her with nothing, but I don't want to get my pants filthy. So I like to use bareback pads. This is a best friend bareback pad. One of the very few that I would recommend. Okay, so let's sit and chat about Muffin a little bit, and I want to just kind of tell you a little bit about her because she has quite a story. So I'm gonna go over here where I can kind of sit down and we can sort of chat about her. Now, can you guys hear me okay from where I'm at? Muffin is kind of like sitting on a couch, actually. She is very, very comfortable to sit on. And yeah, story time, I got to pull up my stool. So let me tell you what I like about Muffin. She is good. Kevin, you asked if she's good on trail rides. Yes, she's good on trail rides for me. I really love to take her out on trail rides. And I'm really careful about who I put on her for trail rides, and I'll get into that. So Muffin is one horse that if she were, so Vic, you're asking about the mic. I'm not using it right now. And the reason why is because I need to keep my phone plugged into the charger. So the mic is not on right now. And it'll be big and it'll be kind of sitting right here. So my phone is hooked up to the charger right now because it's cold enough out where I'll only have about 20 minutes of battery before my phone will die, okay? So when my phone is fully charged and it's sitting out here, it'll die within 20 minutes. So I have to put the mic on right before I ride, and that's the only one way, or that's the only way it's gonna work. So here's what I love about Muffin. She is one horse that or one pony, I guess, like if she were bigger, she would 100% strictly be my horse, period. She'd be one of my personal horses. I like her that much. I wouldn't want to use her for lessons because she's so versatile. She can totally do anything and everything, and she's really good at it. So, Laurel, the temperature here is probably about 40 right now, probably about 45 maybe. But the sun's out, so that's really nice. So it's really not very warm. But Muffin, it's like everything that she's ever done, she is so good at, and just naturally, and she wants to do her best. And she doesn't really give a crap about anything. So, and what I mean is, like, if one of the girls at the barn says that, like, she likes to come up with different, like, slogans for the horses, and she says Muffin's slogan would be, "You're doing it wrong," and that is so Muffin. So Muffin is like, well, I can do it better, or you're not doing it right, or come on, get with the program. Like, that's kind of how Muffin is. She's around 12 and a half hands is my guess, I'm pretty sure. So she's really not very big. She's about 800 pounds, 750, 800 pounds. I just weighed her and dewormed her last night, and honestly, I don't remember, but I think she was about 800. So she is, she's super comfortable to ride. So her gaits are beautiful. She really moves super nice. Just a nicely put together. She's built for strength and stamina. So she can just go, and she likes to have a job. And she is fast. She is really fast. Now Muffin is, her mother was a Welsh pony, and her sire was a quarter horse. Her sire was a reiner, and her mom, I think, was used primarily for driving, from what I've been told. And she was owned by somebody who, a stock contractor for a rodeo, and was sold to some rodeo folks in our area. And she was actually pregnant when she got to our area, and they didn't know, and until she had a foal, and her foal looked just like her, I guess. I didn't see it, never seen pictures of it, and they sold the foal. But the family that owned her, they had a ton of foster kids, actually, that would ride her, and from the stories that they've told me, she just dumped everybody off. So a lot of these girls in particular would come up to me and they're like, "Is that Muffin? Oh my gosh, she's given us so many terrible memories." And it was just always really funny to hear them say that, because I'm like, I just adore this pony. I adore her so much. I think I got her in 2008. 2008, I'm pretty confident it was 2008. And she was born in 2000, so she's 20 this year. How I got her is a client of mine bought this pony for their granddaughter, okay? And they bought the pony from the family that I just mentioned, the ones that had her when she was sold from the stock contractor. So this pony really never had any actual training. And here she's, like, around there, 6 or 7 years old, and not much training, and being rode by a bunch of kids. So I get her because the grandma to the girl that owned her called me and said, "Hey, I got this pony, and my granddaughter is 7 years old." So I think about that now, and I'm like, my daughter is 7. I can't imagine my daughter, even right now, being cut loose with this pony. Like, she's fine in my supervision, but if she were to take her out and just go riding in the field next door or something like that, she'd have a lot of problems with this pony. So I'm going to read this comment that just came through. So Tiffany, I disagree with you. Tiffany says, "I can't think that it's the animal. I always think it's the human training the animal that makes them the way they are, or at least sets the path for the future. Oh, okay. So yes, I agree with you to an extent. Here, let me elaborate on that. Okay. So, for instance, if an animal doesn't have consistency in their life, okay, so like let's look at this pony. She was probably 6-ish. No consistent riding in her life. So ponies get a bad rap as it is. Ponies, people are always saying how terrible ponies are, and got the squad here. It's not the ponies. It's not the ponies' fault that they're getting this bad rap. What it is, ponies are primarily trained by kids. Think about who rides ponies. You don't see many 6-foot-tall cowboys riding ponies or taking them in for training because they're too big for them. So me, I'm 5'3", 135 pounds, and I can handle riding this pony, but not many people that are a lot bigger than me can ride this pony. Okay? So anyway, back to Muffin is, you know, she's 6-ish years old, and her owner is only 7 or 8, and the pony doesn't know much. She hasn't had consistent riding for a number of years to where she understands what's being expected of her, okay? So, and especially if she's been tossed around in a couple homes already and had a lot of different riders, she's not going to have any consistency there. So every time this girl, her name's Carly. Carly's my student. You've heard me talk about Carly. If you've been watching my channel for a number of times, you've heard me talk about Carly. And Carly owns Diego. So Carly would on this pony, and the pony just dump her off. And it got to be where Carly was super scared. And she didn't want to ride this pony because she thought she was going to get hurt. And it was scary. And I am not only an advocate for this pony, but I'm an advocate for the kids too, because I think that a lot of times kids are kind of expected to do more than they can actually handle, okay? When they don't understand. As soon as you give a kid some knowledge, holy cow, you just watch out and let them go because they're going to do amazing things. But until then, you know, maybe they don't have any fear. Well, then they do a couple things that aren't so smart. And now all of a sudden, they're starting to develop some fear, and they don't have the knowledge to fix it. So we need to, with kids, make sure that they get the knowledge so they don't have the fear. We don't want to wait until that fear already sets in. We want to give them knowledge before they have that fear, and then, oh my gosh, they can do anything. And they think they can do anything, and that's awesome. So I went and picked up this pony. And I hadn't seen her or anything, and the moment I saw her, I was just in love with her. She's just put together so nice, and she has the sweetest expression, and she's just kind of, like, she doesn't give a boo about the other horses. She has never once been upset about the other horses. Now, I think that's something that they can be born with a little bit, but I think that it can also be man-made, okay? So you guys have seen me with Manzer from the beginning, how he is in a stall and how he acts away from his mom, and all of that is so, so, so important to me because I don't want any of my horses turning out like Annabelle as far as being worried about being in a stall or, you guys have seen what's happened with her. If you haven't, check out Annabelle's playlist and kind of watch the things that I've dealt with her. So this pony, things were done right, okay? So with her, as far as when I say done right, I mean that she was never put in a position where she's upset and fretting about the other horses, okay? So, but she also has a really good mind on her, and she's the type of pony to really not be bothered by stuff like that. So it could be a combination of both good handling and good mind, or it could be, that she's just straight up has a really good mind, and no matter what was thrown at her, she just kind of said, whatever, I can do it. So there's that. So that's something I love about her, is that she's like, you want me to hang out in a stall for a couple days? Okay, I will. You want me to stand here tied all day? I will. she's just cool with whatever you ask her to do. She's a very confident horse. She's confident in herself and her abilities, and she thinks that she's better than you are. So, and I love that about her. I love it because it takes away all that nonsense that you have to kind of instill in them, and you can just take what she already has and you can just kind of run with it, and it's awesome. So I love that about her, and she's just so sure of everything that she does. Now, sometimes it's hard because Muffin's like, you don't know what you're doing and I need to take over, because that's their instinct. So with horses, every single horse relationship, either they are the leader or you're the leader. I don't care if it's a cat and a horse, a chicken and a horse, a goat and a horse, a cow and a horse and a horse, doesn't matter. A horse has got to have either they're a leader or the other horse or critter of some sort is the leader, human, whatever. They can't just be equal, okay? Somebody's always the leader. Somebody's calling the shots. And that's just how it works with horses. So this horse, though, is particularly, like, there's no question with her. She's like, all right, well, if you're not capable of doing it, I need to be the leader, period. But in the herd, she sees that the other horses are capable of being good leaders, and she's like, okay, cool, got it. And she doesn't challenge that at all. But if she sees that, like, one of the other horses, if there's a question, let's say her and Lucky, for instance. I wouldn't say, Tiffany, I wouldn't say she aims to please. She's just no nonsense and doesn't deal with drama or put up with anything. That's kind of her thing, but she's not trying to necessarily please anybody. She definitely doesn't try to please anybody. Nope, Muffin definitely doesn't try to please anybody. So she just wants peace. She just wants to be left alone and to know she's doing, you know, she's like, this is my thing. So that's the big thing with her. And I'll get into that a little bit. So let's say that her and the other ponies, for instance. Because the other ponies, yes, she's non-political. That is a perfect way of saying it, Rex. She's a lot like me. Muffin and I have a lot in common. So, but if you put her out in the herd and say Lucky is trying to kind of push her around a little bit, she will pin her ears and look at him, and if he doesn't get the heck out of her space, she will pummel him. She won't put up with any of that. But if Nakona comes walking up, pins her ears, Muffin will kind of give her a look like, ugh, but she'll walk away. She does not, she's non-confrontational. She's super cool. She's super cool about that stuff. She's just like, whatever. So you never see a mark on this pony. Never. Because she won't put herself in a position to get herself in trouble. She's got a ton of common sense. She's very smart. But she's also one, too, that she's like, you could put baler twine up for fencing, and she's like, I'm going to stay inside of this pen because it's the right thing to do. She's got really good character, all right? Where Lucky, you may have heard me talk about him a little bit. Lucky is like an opportunistic. He sees the gate slightly open, and he's like, I can fit through there. And so he will, like, run you over to get through the gate. Or if he's like, you know what, that fence is only going to zap me for a moment and then it won't hurt anymore, he'll run through the fence. Where she's like, no, that's just not the right thing to do. She has a lot of integrity. So she is the best. Hi, Danny. I'm glad you're here. So with all this being said about Muffin, I think I got a lot of the videos that Danny has posted on her YouTube channel. If you don't know Danny the Horse Girl, be sure to check her out. But Danny's got a lot of videos of Muffin because she's ridden her a lot. And I put a lot of those videos into Muffin's playlist. So Muffin's got a playlist on my channel. It's just if you scroll along the top of my channel, you'll see all the different tabs. Go to playlist and find Muffin. And you'll see all kinds of cool things about Muffin. Now, I'll go back to how I got her. So I took her for training, because this poor little girl keeps getting dumped off this pony. And so, sure, I'll take her and I'll work with her. So they paid me to train her and put a month on her. And actually, I think I ended up putting 2 months on her because they wanted just to keep going with the consistency. And so the young gal that owned her came out and rode her and did really good in her lesson on her. But she was still really nervous. You could tell she just was really nervous. But she just wasn't ready to own a horse, period. Okay, and I think a lot of kids are not ready. I talk more parents out of buying horses than you'd possibly imagine. So I don't think she was ready at all. I think that a rider has a certain amount of skills that they need to learn before they can ever actually own a horse. I think that kids should ride with instructors or with parents who are 100% comfortable teaching the child how to ride. So like the family that she came from, they had horses for years, but a lot of times kids and parents or grandparents, they don't work well together teaching wise. If you've ever tried to teach your spouse something or your kid something or whatever, you might know what I'm talking about. Or your parent, you're trying to teach them something new. There's a lot of confrontation that can happen. And so it's really hard. So there's some kids that just don't want to listen to what their parent or grandparent wants to say about certain things. And there's a lot of parents and grandparents that don't know how to teach certain things. So it just depends on the situation, okay? So that's where a person like me comes into play, because I teach hundreds of kids, well, thousands to this point in my life, how to ride. And I can kind of help the parents, the grandparents, the kids, everybody all get along, and it works. So even like my good friend Katie, who is Danny the horse girl's mom, she's totally capable of teaching her daughter how to ride, or was. Her daughter can ride very well now. But the thing is it was a lot easier for her to send her daughter to me for lessons. So when Danny was 2 or 3 years old, I started giving her lessons. And her mom can try to teach her something, and she'll take it a totally different way than she'll take it coming from me, okay? And I see the same thing with my kids. My kids take lessons from other instructors in my barn, and it's very important, because I could tell my daughter something all day long about this pony, and it just, boop, goes right over her head, totally ignores me. Mom doesn't know crap. And then Beck, my assistant instructor, will teach her the exact same thing, and she's like, oh, guess what Beck taught me? And I'm like, only been teaching you that for your whole life. It's just how it works, okay? So going back to this pony, I pick her up, I fall in love with her, I ride her, the kid takes lessons on her. It's going pretty good. I have her for a whole nother month. And in the meantime, the girl starts riding her grandma's horse and really, really enjoys her grandma's horse and is getting some confidence. So when it came time for this pony to go home, she didn't want to ride this pony anymore. She wanted to ride her grandma's horse, okay? So this pony just sits there. And then they decided, well, let's put her up for sale since Carly's not going to ride her. Let's put her up for sale. And nobody wanted this pony. And they really had a low price on her. I want to say like $800 maybe. And nobody wanted this pony. They even sent her home with a couple people to try out for a couple weeks. Didn't work out. Now, I can tell you with this pony, we did so many things. I took her out and trail rode her by herself. She was great, walk, trot, canter, you name it. She was awesome. And she's super soft. Like, you go to ask her to move off your leg, and it took her, with any horse, it takes a little bit of learning, but she picked up on that kind of stuff so fast. Like, she's like dressage pony. She gets all fancy in her movements. She's super cool. But everybody that was interested in this pony, they didn't have enough knowledge, okay? So the people that took this pony, tried her out, they probably didn't get along with her very good. She probably dumped them off. She probably dove her nose down and ate grass. She probably scared them a little bit when they were brushing her. She probably picked behind leg, threatened to kick them. She probably pinned her ears and threatened to bite them. And you know what they probably did? They probably let her. They probably backed up when she lifted her hind leg because they thought they were going to get kicked. When she turned and pinned her ears a little bit, they probably backed up because they're like, oh, she's going to bite me. And when she dove her nose down into the grass, they probably got frustrated and put her away. When she dumped them off, they probably quit. This This is a smart pony. She knows how to get people to back off. And she is the type of pony, she doesn't need you. She does not need somebody doting over her and brushing her and fussing with her and doing all that stuff. She wants to have a job. She wants to get it done. Have you ever met somebody who has a border collie or a Australian cattle dog or any kind of a Australian shepherd or something, and they ever told you, don't pet my dog? I've been told that by a few people, actual working dogs. I've had people tell me, don't pet that dog, or don't let your kids pet that dog, because that dog is a working dog. It's got a job, and, you know, it is what it is. So if Muffin were a dog, she would be one of those kind of dogs. All right, and those dogs are amazingly loyal and so good at their job, and they're so friendly to their human, but that's their job, and they're human, and it is what it is. So with this pony, let's see, so here's how I came to get her, and I'll explain a little bit more about that kind of stuff in a minute, but here's how I got her, is this pony got tossed around a little bit, everybody tried her out, didn't like her. And then there's me, who's just like, I'm like, this is an amazing pony. Like, this pony is like my spirit animal. I love her. So they called me, and they're like, Brandy, we are really in a pickle. We don't have room in our barn for multiple horses. We can't just keep this pony. And Carly won't ride her. She's afraid of her. And even though I put 2 months of training on this pony, I can't magically turn that kid into a different rider. And that's what this pony needed. She needed a different rider. She needed somebody who was confident and could be a good leader for her. Otherwise, she feels it's her job to take over, and that's what she does. Because think about it, when somebody that's maybe not so experienced is on her, and they're trying to steer her, and maybe they're pulling on her mouth a little bit, maybe they're hanging on her face, maybe when they trot, they bounce, and their hands are bouncing. She doesn't like that. And I don't care if you're riding her with just a halter. They don't like pressure that's not necessary. So this pony takes that, she's got really great self-preservation. She's like, I don't like you pulling on my mouth, get off. And away they go. And that's how that works with her. So anyway, after, okay, they don't want to keep this pony. And they're like, Brandy, we will give her to you if you just want her. And I'm like, oh gosh. And then I got guilt, because that's how I am. And I'm like, well, they paid me 2 months of training. And granted, back then, oh my gosh, when I first started training horses for people, I charged $150 for a month, and I put 20 solid hours on the horse. I rode them typically 5 days a week, and I offered 2 lessons. So they got a lot out of it. And I think I maybe charged a little bit more by the time I took Muffin in, but that's how much I was charging within, a year or two of taking her for training. So, but anyway, I still felt guilty about taking this pony, and I didn't know if I could convince my husband that we needed another pony. And I had 3 horses at the time. I had Poco, I had Miss Kitty, and we had Nika. And Poco and Miss Kitty were my main lesson horses. Oh, and I had 2 more. I had Rain and I had Tuffy. So we had a handful of horses. And Rain was a lesson horse, Miss Kitty was a lesson horse, Poco was a lesson horse. Tuffy was he was not a lesson horse, but I was trying to get him, we were working towards that. And Nika wasn't ever gonna be a lesson horse. So, but I'm like, gosh, I have so many kids that are starting to, that they were starting to join my program, and I'm like, I could really use this pony. She's little. She's got a great trot. She really would be ideal for little riders. Yeah, the cats are fighting right here. You guys might want to enjoy this show. There's going to be some fur flying in a minute. So I'm like, this pony, her groundwork was wonderful. I did so much with her on the ground. And I'm like, I maybe don't want to turn kids loose on her, but she'd be really great on a line. So I could work with little kids on her, and they could be right at my level. And she's got the slowest, sweetest trot ever. It'd be awesome. My Poco was awesome, but he was a little taller, okay? So just having that little tiny tiny horse would have been awesome. So, but my husband, he's a finance guy. And so he needs to see the numbers for everything. So I sat and I fretted over this for quite some time. And I asked them, I said, can I have a little while? And they're like, oh, sure, no problem. So I had a pie chart even of how many students I thought I would be able to bring into my program simply from having this pony. Because I've kind of got a rule where I try not to let horses do more than 3 lessons in a day. And when I say 3 lessons in a day, I'm talking they only get 30 minutes of that is actual riding, and there's breaks and stuff in between. But as my program was growing, I'm getting more and more students. Now I need more horses to facilitate the number of students that I have. So anyway, I typed up all this stuff for my husband, showed it to him, laid it out. I'm like, okay, the pony is free, but of course, there's no such thing as a free pony. There's all these other expenses that come along. It's an annual expense now. Now I have to pay to feed the pony. I've got the deworming. I've got the trimming. Sure, I do my trimming by myself, or my own trimming, but it's still extra time that I need to spend doing a job. And all the factors that I had to think about. So I figured out all of that, and then how many lessons I would need to do to bring this pony into my program, okay? So yeah, there's graph charts, pie charts, you name it. It was pretty funny. So in talking with said husband, he agrees, okay, you're right, I think it is a good business decision, sure. And I said, she's smaller, she'll eat less. And she's an easy keeper, so she doesn't need much. But, so we decide on taking this pony, but here's the thing is, I told the people that had her, I said, I don't feel right just taking this pony. I said, so what I would like to do in exchange is offer X amount of lessons to the granddaughter in exchange for this pony. So they liked that idea, and so I take the pony, and I said, well, here's the thing, she comes for her first lesson. I said, you're going to take your lessons on her. And she was like, oh, total disappointment, because she's like, she really didn't want to ride Muffin. So after a couple of lessons on Muffin, she started to really enjoy riding her. And then I had worked with Muffin so much between the last time she had ridden her and then to that point that she was getting better and better with every single work session. So Carly took every lesson. I want to say it was a minimum of 10 lessons, but I feel like it was more than that. And I really liked the kid, so I wanted her to succeed. So she took all these lessons on Muffin, and then she tells me, she's like, I'm so sad that I gave up on this pony. And I said, you know what? I said, it's okay. You didn't give up on her. It just wasn't the right time. And I said, and this pony is going to be in my program forever. And you are welcome to ride this pony anytime you want. And Carly and I developed a very good friendship, and she went on to be, she just graduated from college. And oh my gosh, she was my assistant for quite some time, giving lessons and helping with horse camps and all that kind of stuff. And to this day, she adores this pony, and she still rides her every chance she gets. And it's just, I think, such a good story of how, this pony could have ended up in a really bad situation. And I don't blame anybody at all. But what I feel like is, horses don't get enough solid education before they're kind of tossed out into the world. Hey, Michaela, how's it going? And I feel that kids don't get enough education with horses before they're tossed out into the world too. So I don't necessarily take horses that are like kid-safe, beginner-proof horses that are fully trained and let kids learn on them. It's not necessarily what I do. Whatever horses I have are the horses that the kids are learning on. So my mini horse, for instance, Daisy, you guys have seen her. And if you haven't, check out her playlist, because there's a good, it's good entertainment. But Daisy is a nasty little thing, okay? And my daughter rides her, and she loves her. That mini's not trained. She is not trained. There's no way that I could spend time riding that mini. I'm way too big for her. She's been driven. She's had groundwork. There's a lot of things that have been done with her, but I can't ride her. So I have to train my kid so she can train this mini. And same with some other kids that have ridden her too that really like her. And she's little enough, you know, the pony's little enough, so that's nice because she's not scary, but she's a brat. So, and it just is what it is. She is straight up. I do feel like there are horses that can be brats, and she's a brat. A personality is something that you are not going to change, and her personality is a brat. So, all right. So Muffin has been in my program now since 2008-ish, and she has taught hundreds of little tiny kids to ride. She has taught and adults how to ride. And Muffin has her preferences. I'll look at her face and I'll be like, oh, she's so annoyed. Like Muffin is like, oh, not another pony ride. Like that's just her thing. Like we use her for birthday parties and stuff, and she's kind of like, you can just like, if she could roll her eyes in disgust, she would. She's like, really, you're using me for a birthday party? Like take me to a rodeo or a jumping event because I'm way above this. Where Annabelle, on the other hand, is like, yay, birthday parties. Like, horses are so funny and they're different personalities and stuff, and I just love it. But, okay, so let me give you some examples of Muffin. I've had many kids over the years lease Muffin, and Amelia's got the best stories about Muffin. Amelia's the one that draws all the pictures of the horses that goes on the t-shirts and stuff that I have available on my online store. And Amelia was the very first one to lease Muffin. And where I was keeping my horses at the time, there was an indoor arena, but there was, the outdoor arena didn't have a fence around it. And Amelia would be riding, and Muffin would just take like a random turn into the trees and just like run Amelia through the trees. And the reason for that is because she could. And she knew that, like, a way of getting Amelia to get off her face, like she was telling Amelia, quit pulling on my face. And she knew that if she took a quick dive through the trees, that would give her a release. She was accidentally taught to run through the trees to get a release and pressure. And that's what horses do. That's how they learn things. They learn from pressure and release. Okay? So, Kate, that's so cool. You have a pet turkey. That's awesome. Sorry, that was random, but I just saw that, and that's cool. I like weird, random animals for pets. So, Muffin, that's just how she is. So, I've had so many people offer to buy this pony, and I've been offered way more money. I would never tell my husband how much I've been offered for this pony, because he'd be like, why is she still here? You need to sell her. So, but I know that the pony would not thrive in that environment. So here's the common denominator. She's like, quit talking about me and do something with me already. But the common denominator for why this pony is so successful at her job and that people have so many good rides on her is me. And I'm not saying that because like I'm amazing or anything. It's not. That's not the case at all. But I am a confident, experienced rider who knows how to read this horse and who knows how to prevent issues, okay? So I coach riders on this pony how to get along with this pony. And when they can do well with her, they thrive. So when a rider is finally to a point where they can handle this pony, oh my gosh, they do amazing with her. But if they can't figure that out or they're not confident enough, it's never going to be okay. And I've actually had riders that I've had to say, you're just not the right fit for Muffin. And as sad as that makes them, because Muffin is one pony at home and a different pony at an event. And let me explain why. So Amelia, for instance, Amelia is a very strong personality, very confident individual. And even though Muffin had run her through the trees a few times, but Amelia was pretty young. She was like 7 or 8. But as Amelia got to be a better rider, her and Muffin did amazing together. They did fantastic. But unfortunately, Amelia's super tall. So she outgrew this pony so fast. And I was really sad because she rode her for maybe 2 years, and then she was too big for her. So, like way too tall. She could physically ride her because weight-wise, but as far as competitions and stuff, she just didn't look right on her. So we had to switch her to some, different one. And then, I moved another rider onto her, and then another one, and that's just kind of how it works. So Muffin there's a trend going where riders seem to only be able to lease her for 2 years because then they outgrow her. And that's unfortunate. I'd like to see somebody be able to ride her for many years. So Carly's shorter than I am, so she can still ride her and looks fine on her. But Carly had her own horse. So there was really no point in her leasing this horse and having her own. But she would ride her as often as she could. So my daughter, though, is probably going to be relatively small forever because, my husband and I are not very big people. So there's a good chance that Tova and Bodhi both will be a good size for this pony for a very long time. But they're not ready for her yet. They can ride her in here and do just fine, but on a trail or something, Muffin gets a little bit excited, because she's like, woohoo, we're out on the trail, and she, loves to go galloping up a hill, or she loves to lead, and sometimes she's like, nope, I'm going to just keep going, and I don't want to slow down, and that can get kind of scary, especially to somebody who only weighs as much as a bag of grain. So, they're just not ready for her in that aspect yet. So the other ponies are better for them, but I can see Tova and this pony getting along really, really well. One of the girls that leased Muffin wasn't very confident when it came to, actually I've had a couple that were not very confident, but one in particular, she rode her really well at home, and then she got to an event, and the girl was so nervous being at an event that Muffin totally took over, and Muffin just got super annoyed and I think bucked her off at a horse show. But it just boiled down to, the girl that was riding her needed to learn how to manage her own nerves but you can't really practice that at home though. So that's the thing is she's on her at an event, and she needed to learn how to get herself under control. And the only way to do that is through doing it. So unfortunately, I had to switch her to a different horse because this girl was never going to be comfortable on Muffin at a show, and Muffin knew it. And so horses don't take advantage of opportunities per se. They just do what they need to do to protect themselves. And so she was feeling this rider's discomfort, and she's like, I don't like how you're making me feel. And so she just get rid of her. And that's how Muffin is. And that's how she's always going to be. If she's got a rider on her that is, like I said, confident and experienced, this pony is amazing. I have taken this pony and shown her at some of our local events, rodeos, fairs, whatever, and I've only done speed events with her, but I have beat full-size good rodeo horses barrel racing on this pony. I do have a video in her playlist. I'm wearing a GoPro cam, and you can check that out. And she's fast, and she's so fun. So when the kids get to a point where they can handle her for barrel racing and stuff, nobody's beating her. I mean, she's really, really good. One of the girls jumped her 3'2", and not at a show, but just at home. So that was pretty impressive to see. So this pony's athletic. At horse shows and stuff, I think the biggest she's been jumped at shows is 2'6" or 2'9", and she loves to jump, and she's super kind of snazzy to watch in the show ring. She really is very fun to watch. So Danny's got a lot of videos of her showing Muffin, and unfortunately Danny's too big for her to show her anymore, but oh well, it is what it is. So I've had to tell a lot of people though, because they're like, oh, would you ever sell Muffin? And I'm like, you hate to say no, because I mean, how do I even explain this? I don't want to put a price on my animals. But there are some that I have where if somebody offered me the right amount of money, I would say sold. Because you got to look at your family too. You got to say, okay, well, let's see. If I had an extra 20 grand laying around, that would build an outdoor arena for me. Or if I had this much laying around, that's a nice down payment on a tractor so we can make our lives easier. So there are certain horses that, yes, I would sell. But Muffin, it would really be difficult for me to ever sell this pony. And it would have to be very I'd be very particular about where she would go. So with Muffin, with that being said, I flat out told people, though, I'm like, your kid may be able to ride her pretty darn good in this arena, in this environment, with me coaching every move. I said, but it's not going to go well when you get her home. And please, I'm reading comments. People don't take that too kindly. Like, they don't like being told that they can't handle a horse. And they're like, but we ride her all the time and she's great. Yes, but you get her home, you're immediately going to bring her down to your level. That's not going to work out, and then she's going to take over, and then you're going to have a dangerous situation on your hands. So this pony is amazing. And like I said, I teach, I got one girl that comes and rides with me who is, has some pretty severe disabilities, and I trust Muffin 100%. I ride the horse, and then I hold the young girl, and it's 100% therapeutic for this rider, and it's so cool to see what has happened in doing that. And I've got somebody will lead Muffin, and we have to do it bareback. We can't do it with a saddle on. But I trust Muffin to the fullest. And I know that she's going to be my best choice for a rider like that because of her gaits, and she's so steady. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put that rider on there without me with her, because Muffin feels me and she knows what's expected of her at all times. So, but it's a pretty cool feeling to be sitting on that pony and have this child and know that this child will never walk. And this is the closest thing that this child is ever going to feel to walking. And that just makes me feel so amazing that this pony can give that to that kid. And the thing is Muffin is small enough, so I wouldn't want to be on much bigger of a horse, because there's a risk. When I've got that type of a rider in my arms, there's a lot of risk. But it's a risk that's worth taking for the benefits that we get out of it. Okay? So I'm not a therapeutic riding instructor by any means. This is a special case, that I work with. There's a couple of them that I will do just for my own personal enjoyment. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, but Muffin she's my go-to. She's my main lesson horse. She is the one that, there are more stuffed animals in the world that are named Muffin, I think, than any other stuffed animal. There's so many Muffins out there because there's hundreds of kids who have learned from Muffin. And I just have to be careful. I know what she likes and doesn't like. I know that there's a spot on her chest that she doesn't like to be brushed. And if somebody is within reach, when she's being brushed right there, she'll nip at them. And that's okay. She doesn't like it. Why force it? So I want her to be comfortable with everything, but I'm not going to, I'll just tell younger kids, don't brush her there because she doesn't like it, and leave it at that. So, and I know that she'll test kids who are trying to pick up her feet, and she won't just do it for them. She's like, well, if you want me to pick up my foot, you got to ask me, right? Period. And that's just how she is. So Muffin is very special. But I want to emphasize that she is the type of horse that very easily could have ended up at a slaughterhouse. She very easily could have been neglected. She very easily just could have been one that was tossed around and tossed around and tossed around at a kill pen, at an auction, because of all that stuff that, to me, I'm just like, oh, that's nothing. Let's just fix that. So that's why it's so important to me to do these videos and to try to help educate others on the importance of taking lessons. Because in this situation, just think, if I had not offered that girl lessons in exchange for this pony, would she have taken lessons? I don't know, because she was pretty happy with the horse that she was riding, so I don't know that she really felt the need to. So that's kind of what I think of. So I think that Carly's life maybe is totally different than what it could have been, horse-wise. Carly she's qualified for the World NBHA show, and she's an amazing rider. And I think about all the time that I got to spend with her, and it's just so awesome. And I think about, what if she didn't have lessons? I don't know. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to think about. You want to see the back of my hat? Okay. It's a military style hat. It's just a random question that popped up. Somebody wanted to see my hat. I've had it for over 10 years. I absolutely love it. I wish I could get my hands on more of them. I had a bunch that I embroidered for a while and I sold them, but I really wish I hadn't sold them because I really like them. So I'm in the search for a nice military style hat again, so I can have them embroidered and offer them for sale. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about Muffin before I try to hook up my mic and get on her? Anybody? So she's 20 years old now, and something about Muffin too is she does have Cushing's disease, which is also PPID. Some people know it as Cushing's, some people know it as PPID, and it's basically a pituitary gland issue. So she doesn't shed her coat out properly, and so she's on medication to help with that, and it affects a lot of things. So if you're wanting to know more about PPID, I would recommend just Googling it, learn a little bit about it. But Muffin has been diagnosed with that, so she does respond very well to it. The medication is pretty expensive. It is, I'm trying to think of how long it's like $250 when I buy it, and it lasts a few months. But that's pretty pricey when you got a lot of horses and you got one that requires medication. It's a bummer, but it's the price that we pay, to have them as long as we do, and I'll have her entire life. So I'm willing to do that. All right. Let's see here. A couple more questions. Let's see if I missed anything. Would I have bred her if she didn't have PPID? She's got so many qualities that I really love. I certainly would consider that. But, I'm glad that I know that she has PPID because, maybe I would have considered doing that. And I'm glad that I found out about that now. But I really like this cross. So she is, like I said, she's quarter horse Welsh cross. And I think about my mare Blossom. And I have come across a Welsh stud that I really, really like. And I would consider breeding Blossom to a Welsh so I could get another one of these because she's such a great size. So yeah, she looks a lot like your mare. And yeah, Muffin's color now, a lot of people think she's bay, but she's actually a dun. She has a dorsal stripe that goes down her back. I don't clip her when it gets warmer because she does shed out completely. So last year let me see this. Last spring is when we put her on the medication. So she's been on it for a full year. And I noticed her coat is different this year than it was last year. Last year she wasn't shedding out, and that's how I kind of had an idea. She did eventually shed, but it took a long time and her coat wasn't the same. So I'm anxious to see what happens with her by July to see if she goes back to that really short, sleek, shiny coat. But she typically does. So hello, T. Dent, and thank you for joining my channel or for viewing my channel. PPID is a pituitary gland issue that horses can develop, and so Muffin has that. So my recommendation would be to Google it because there's so much about it, and it's just, for me to try to spout off what I know about it, it's better for you just to kind of look it up. But so yeah, Muffin is a very sturdy built pony. She's a pony, and I love her build. She can carry so much more, and she really would have been great driving. And I could still get her trained to drive. That's not a problem. But she's just built really good for that kind of stuff. Now I want to talk about something too, pony wise or just weight wise. So there's like a standard. Let me answer Tiffany real quick. There's no cure There's no cure, but there's treatment. So she's being treated for it. So she'll be on this medication the rest of her life. Muffin's about 12 and a half hands, right around 750, 800 pounds. Now, there's a standard kind of protocol for weight and what a horse can handle. Horses, like a general rule that people say is horses can carry about 20% of their body weight comfortably. So on ponies though, I look at it with horses, I think it depends on the build of the horse. So I look at as 20 to 25% of the horse's body weight is a good range for me, I think. So, but I look at Muffin and she's built a lot more sturdy. And ponies can carry more like in the 30% to 40% range, some of them, depending on how they're built. Like little finer Welsh ponies, that's a little different because they are finer boned. But these, ones that have quarter horse bred into them, or you look at some of the ponies, some ponies have draft built into them or bred into them, they can carry a lot of weight. So it really depends on the particular horse. So when you see a rider on Muffin like myself, for instance, when you see a rider like myself on her, like I said, I weigh about 135, 140 pounds probably. I'm 5'3", and she is 750, 800 pounds is my guess. So do the math. Am I too heavy for her or am I not? So, and the way I look at it too is because I ride my Welsh ponies as well. Not for any length of time, but I'll get on them and give them I'll give them a little tune-up and that kind of stuff. And that's important for them because they need more experienced riders on them. But I don't feel like they struggle to carry me at all. If anything, their little ears are up and happy, and they would tell me if they didn't feel comfortable with me being on their back. So think about your weight and carrying somebody on your back, and what weight you would be comfortable with carrying. Now, I want you to also think about it as, imagine having somebody on your back that's really out of balance and all over the place, okay? Versus having somebody on your back that is very balanced and stays in place well. Which one would you rather carry if they weighed the same? So I look at the same thing for horses and ponies, okay? All right. So, yeah, there's a lot of people, look at reining horses. Reining horses are little. They're meant to be little and catty and get around quick. And there's a lot of really tall people that ride them. So, all right, let's, you guys bear with me. Let's try to figure out my microphone, get it hooked up, and then I'm going to get on Muffin, and we'll see if you guys can hear me. I'm not going to, do a whole lot with her today. I'm just going to ride her around really just for the purpose of checking out my microphone, seeing if it works. And I'm excited to ride Muffin. She hasn't been ridden in over a month, so, but she's pretty awesome. She's had consistent riding her whole life, so she doesn't typically get too fresh anymore. So I'm going to put my stool back, and let's get on the phone. Yeah, I think over here might be an okay spot. Hopefully. Yeah, famous last words. That's exactly it, Tracy. This is a day that Muffin's going to buck me off in front of everybody because I said that. That's how that works. That's how you set yourself up for failure right there. So if at any point you guys have a hard time, like if it buffers at all or anything, just tell me, okay? Okay. First time. I have not even practiced with this, so if it doesn't work, oh well. My husband played around with it and he showed me what to do, but we'll see. Now, I do need to get a lapel mic to go with this, and I will do that eventually. I gotta add, you guys, thank you so much for those of you who super chatted in March. I just want you to know that you guys are the ones that paid for this stuff, and I appreciate that so much. YouTube pays the end of the month, okay? So it's a whole month. So I just got paid the end of April for my March YouTube money, okay? So all of those who super chatted me in March, you guys bought this for me. And I thank you so much because this allows me, like, this isn't something that I would want to buy myself. I'm not into this kind of gear. It's just not my thing. I like to buy stuff for my horses, not electronic gear. But this is, so thank you very much. It was very kind of you guys to do that. So let's see if it works. All right, here. So here's my microphone. Okay, it's on. Here is, now I don't understand this entirely, so bear with me. But I can change this to be louder or quieter. So you guys will have to tell me that too, if it sounds good or not. All right, I think that's probably an okay space. So I will be getting a lapel mic that will hook here somewhere. That'll be small, and then I'll be able to put this in my pocket. So you guys should be able to hear me pretty good when I get, you know, that kind of setup. Now I have to unplug it from the battery, so hopefully it doesn't die. So just know, guys, if it does die, oh well, you know, I'm not gonna start this back up or anything. We're done for the day if that happens. So from what I see, this should be working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk away and I'm going to go stand over there and I'm going to talk and you guys are going to tell me if you can hear me, okay? All right, here I go. Okay, I am halfway across the arena. And now I'm about 3/4 of the way across the arena. And now I am all the way across the arena. Oh, look, there's horse poop in the corner. I forgot to clean that up the other day. That's from Sally. While I'm at it, I'm going to grab this mounting block. I hope you guys can hear me. That would be pretty awesome. I just watered the arena the other day and it is super dusty already. What a bummer. Okay, did you hear me? Oh, yay, it works. I'm so excited. All right, I just have to watch what I say when I ride. I have to be careful because you could hear my footprints, really? Should I turn it down? Should I try turning it down? I sound like I'm talking into my sleeve? Okay. All right. So every little sniffle or anything you guys are going to hear. Darn it. All right. Don't turn it down. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm so excited. Yay. How fun is this? Kitty, you can't have my stool. Now, I used to be able to just jump up on Muffin without using the stool, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fail like that in front of a bunch of people, and I'm not going to try to do it with the microphone, so I am going to use the stool to get on her. And I suppose I don't need to go over to the camera to talk now, so I'll just do my thing. Okay, and I'm going to do the little trick that I usually show you guys where I take the halter off. Now, Muffin does have some bad habits. She can't help it. She's a lesson horse. She gets taught bad habits all the time. But the cool thing is after I ride her a little bit, watch her, she'll just grab onto her bit. She just likes to take her bit. So after I ride her for a few minutes, she'll be like, oh, okay. But she will try to do things like root her nose out and that kind of stuff. She likes to chew on her halter when I do this. Okay. Here we go. Okay, any questions before I get on? Let's see. No? Okay. All right, I'm going to get on. Muffin is expected to, I'm going to move her shoulder a little bit. She's expected to step over for me. Did you see her root her nose just now? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. She's also, as a lesson horse, been accidentally taught to want to be in a big hurry to move off. So I'm going to have her stand here for a moment. I may even get back off and back on if I feel like it's necessary, because she's usually in a hurry to go. So, and if I feel her anticipating that she wants to go, I'll just wait. Do you see that right there? She went to look, she thought about walking off. This is something that lesson horses learn from people getting on them and just taking off. I try to supervise as much as I can of my riders when they get on. So like when I get on a horse, that wasn't too bad, I'll leave her be. But I'm going to sit here. So when I get on a horse, I will sit and I'll return emails. I'll return, like a lot of you guys that email me, your stories and stuff. Just know that there's a good chance that I'm sitting on a horse reading your email. And I've got a loose rein right here, and I'm just sitting here and I'm waiting. Muffin needs a lot more of this. Okay, I'm just going to close my leg just a tiny little bit. You guys may have seen my leg just sort of come in a little. That's all I need on her to get her to go. Muffin is more than happy to go all the time. And I'm really sorry, guys, if I'm talking too loud. I am not used to just being able to talk normal when I ride. So this is something that is going to be hard for me to get used to and to stop yelling when I ride, because I'm so used to having to yell across the arena. I just looked out the window and saw Manzer, and I thought it was Nika. Oh my gosh, Nika's in a stall eating. He's doing so good. Muffin has a little click on her right ankle in the hind, so you might hear that a little bit as she walks along. Muffin is typically the pony that I start just about everybody on that is size-wise that can ride her, because she's so good at her job and she's so steady, and it's a good way for me to kind of judge a rider and see where they're at. I've had plenty of riders who have their own horses or who've ridden for a while, and they come into my program and they kind of look at me, particularly like preteen age and such. They want to ride bigger horses. They don't want to ride a pony. So they kind of look at me like, do I have to ride the pony? And I'm like, well, Muffin is the one that I start everybody on. And they think that I mean that because she's like, you know, the beginner pony kind of deal. And that's not necessarily the case. The deal is that she will tell me in about 2 minutes so much more about a rider. Ooh, scary. She sees, I have a tarp in the corner that wasn't there last time she was in here. And she's like, I see it. and it has orange on it, and it's scary. She's very aware of things. But when she's like, oh, it's just the tarp, then she'll be like, oh, cool. So with that being said, I had one rider in particular that came for a group lesson, and she's got her own horse. And she's like, yeah, can I ride a different horse? I really am not interested in riding a pony. And I'm like, oh, really? I said, well, you know, being an advocate for the pony that I am, I said, well, let me show you something. You know, because she's like, well, I'm just kind of hoping to ride something a little bigger, a little faster maybe. I said, okay. I said, let me show you something. So I pull up my handy dandy playlist on YouTube of Muffin, and I found one of the videos of Danny jumping her. And I showed her that. I said, do you think that you could do this? And she's like, oh, wow. And then I pulled up a barrel racing video. I said, how about this? Is she still too slow for you? And she's like, oh, wow. And I said, right. Muffin she has pretty high credentials. And there's a good chance that you're going to have some problems when you ride her that we're going to need to work through, because she's going to tell me that you need to work on some stuff. So I'm sorry, but you need to graduate Muffin first before I put you on other horses, because Muffin is the first step. So I had another rider who's got some problems with her horse bucking and just giving her some issues. And she was explaining all these problems to me. And we're going to go into a little trot. As you can see, my leg, well, I don't know if you can see from there, but my legs don't do much to get her to trot. And that's another thing, too, is that a little kid can be on her and kind of bang around on her, and she'll just ignore them. Like, she's just totally annoyed. She's like, tell this kid to quit kicking me. And she won't trot for him. And so they get all annoyed. And it's like, well, you got to ask her properly. You can't just get on her and kick her and think she's going to go for you. That's rude. You got to ask nicely. So this other girl that's riding Muffin in a lesson, Muffin bucked on her. And I'm like, Muffin has been known to, buck in certain situations. When we're out on the trail and she's being held back and wants to go, or at a horse show and a rider's nervous, and she doesn't want to tolerate that. That's fine. But to see her actually buck, like right here, no, she doesn't need to poop stop and poop. That's something that she's been taught during lessons. I'm not going to let her do that. It's ridiculous. She was in the wild and they were crossing a bunch of land. She would not be stopping to poop. She would keep going with the herd. We do not stop to poop. So anyway, Muffin bucked on this girl during the lesson. I'm like, well, it's kind of funny. You're telling me all these things about your horse, how he bucks and whatever else. And I said, my horse is kind of demonstrating a lot of the same things that you just told me about your horse. And she's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, is it? Because I think what that means is the common denominator is you. So I said, maybe we need to teach you some things, and then your horse will probably stop doing that stuff. It's kind of cool how that works. Our horse is a mirror of us. I'm trying to be very careful in my breathing and my sniffles. I don't want to be sniffling into the microphone. It's embarrassing. Okay, somebody had asked about an extended trot. So extended trot is, so I'm just jogging along right now. Muffin's got a nice little jog. I'll pick up a little bit faster trot just by giving a little bit of leg. She doesn't need much. And as you can see, Muffin travels so nicely just along. She's just going right where I'm asking her to go. This pony is so good at staying right between. Woo-hoo. She's like, oh, there's that thing. Holy smokes, it was scary.
So I'm just gonna circle here. I don't make a big deal out of that kind of stuff. She wanted to stop, whatever, fine. I let her take a look at it, but I'm just gonna ignore it, keep going. I'm aware that she might get scared. So get going, you don't need to worry about that. So I'm just gonna circle down here again, just for the sake of it. And if she goes to stop, I'm just gonna use my legs and let her know to get going forward. There, good, that's better. So I try not to make a big deal when they get worried about something. Just carry on. So, but one thing that a lot of riders have problems with her is she'll dive to the center of the arena. She'll root her nose down. That's one big thing. Now I'm going to take a hold of my reins just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm just asking for what I call a soft feel, where I want her to tuck in her little nose just a little bit and soften there, like that. I'm going to do it again right here. I'm going to just close my hands. There, she just softened and brought her chin in. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want her to, when I close my hands on reins, I don't want her to lean against me. I want her to soften and tuck her chin in. And in return, I immediately will release the reins when she softens to me. Okay, I'm checking out my microphone here. It's just kind of sliding a little bit. So, but yeah, there are some riders that blame Muffin. They're like, but she always dives into the middle. And I'm like, well, yeah, you let her. Don't let her. I'm working my inside leg. Every time I feel her kind of bow her body towards the center, my inside leg corrects her. You can see I can ride her with a very long rein and go where I need to go. I am riding this horse with my legs, not my reins. Change direction. Try not to lean, but I totally just leaned there. When you're on a little bit narrower horse, you can feel everything you do a lot more when you're bareback, because if you lean a little bit, you're like, oh, you're kind of slippy, you know? So, so I hope if I do slip or anything, I don't, I have a tendency to cuss. I don't mean to, but try to keep it family friendly around here. So I'm going to extend my trot a little bit, and I'm going to start posting. I just looked out the window, and I have a pony that is between the fences. Darn it, if you were watching yesterday, you saw I have like an alley between my fences, and my boarder's pony is between the fences. So when I am posting bareback, I will do two different things with my legs. I will either have my heels down as if I was using stirrups, or I will point my toes to the ground. Pointing your toes to the ground is good because it helps you lengthen your leg, where having your heels down is good because when you have stirrups, you ride with your heels down. Go through the middle again. Change my diagonal. Now, if you don't know what a diagonal is, basically it's the leg that I'm posting with. Let me explain. So I am coming up off of her back in time with her left front leg. So as her left front leg leaves the ground, I am coming up off of her back. I always try to remember rise and fall with the leg on the wall. So I'm going to change it. So as I change direction, I change my diagonal. So I'm on the left, I'm going to switch to the right. Sit, sit. Heels are still down. I'm going to point my toes down. Lengthen my legs out. You know, sometimes we get in the habit of kind of scratching her legs up, so that's why I like to alternate. I gave her a little cluck right there. I typically don't make any vocal sounds to my horse when I'm riding because I don't like them to be affected by anything but my body language. I sit and I want her to slow down. I did not pull on her at all to slow her down. But yeah, I clucked to her when I saw that she was looking at this tarp in the corner. And so I just clucked just to remind her, get going. So I'm going to let her walk for just a moment. I'm going to take her off the rail a little bit and try to leg yield her back to the rail. Good girl. Good girl. My goodness, horses sneeze a lot. And when they first get going, especially, they'll sneeze a lot. Just kind of get everything out of their lungs. Not a bad thing. I'm going to change direction. I'm going to make like a little teardrop shape. So my right leg's going to come back a little bit. My right hand comes forward and out just a little bit, just to walk the front around. Now I'm going to leg yield back over to the rail. So I want to keep her nose tipped slightly to the left. Open my right leg. My left leg comes back a little bit and on. The reason it comes back a little bit is because the hind end wasn't keeping up with the front end. So I needed to hurry the hind end along a little bit. I hope you guys can still hear me. I'm going to ask her for a canter in just a moment. I like to canter when I'm kind of coming into a corner a lot of times because it gives the horse, it kind of sets them up really nicely for picking up the correct lead. So you'll see me a lot of times when I do ask a horse to canter, I ask them as I'm coming into the long wall. So like right now I'm coming into the short wall. So I'd want to wait till I'm over there and coming into the long wall. I'm going to trot her into her canter. Do you guys hear wind? I'm just going to kind of let her go at her own pace, hang her head a little bit, pet her. I'm going to come through the middle. I'm going to trot, lose my balance, whoopsie. Keep going, Muffin. That was terrible. We didn't come through very good at all. It's hard for, and she totally took care of me there because here I was trying to get my left leg back, but I started leaning to the right a little bit, so I should probably work on that. I'm going to do a couple figure eights. I'm going to break down to a trot. Wasn't very pretty either. Slow down. And I tried to slow her up right in front of the camera so you could see that I didn't pull on her. I just slow my body down. I'm sniffling, she's sneezing. My goodness. The thing I like about Muffin too is she's not a pony who is, even when she is like 30 years old, I can't see her being dead broke, okay? When I think of dead broke, like I don't like that term anyway, but when I think of the term dead broke, it's a horse that is dull to the world. And she'll just never be that horse. Like, she knows, like, oh, that's no big deal, you know, whatever, that's nothing to be worried about. But she's always been very observant to everything. She pays attention. And if you're not paying attention, she knows you're not paying attention. And I think that's another reason why she makes such a great lesson horse is, you know, she is always aware, and she doesn't do anything for the riders. She makes them do it, okay? And speed up your butt. Speed up your butt. Thank you. So, and the thing I love about her too is, so sure, there's a couple little things, like she rooted her nose out when I went to get on her. She was a little antsy at the mounting block. She didn't really want to stand when I got on her, but all that stuff, I can deal with that. You know, she did everything I asked her to do just now. You know, we didn't do anything fancy by any means. You know, I can take a hold of her, ask her to tuck her chin, lengthen her stride a little bit, and she is like there and ready, okay? She's not pulling on me. There, and I'm gonna just let her go. I leave her alone. Now, when a student picks up on the reins like that, which they shouldn't be, until they fully understand the purpose of a rein and the connection to the horse, I like my riders to have a loose rein where there's still communication there. Like, I don't want the rein to be non-existent. You see how nice she just kind of tucks her chin for me? I sit tall, she'll stop. See if I can get back up without having to do much else. And now she might try to root her nose out. So I'm going to be prepared for that there. You see her offer that little step back? I'll reward that because that was great. That was just what I was looking for. That's all I needed. Now if I want to take a hold of her again, now I'll shift my weight a little bit. See if I can get her to back up a little softer. Yeah, the thing I like about her is no matter how long it's been since I've been on her, I don't remember the last time I rode her, I want her to back up with her nose in just a little more and a little bit more try. Ah, right there. Yeah, it was really good. Good girl. So it doesn't matter how long it's been since I rode her last. She's always pretty darn consistent, and I love that about her because there's some horses who are so impressionable by every different rider that they have. Muffin's like, I know what you taught me, and I'm going to remember what you taught me. And that's my foundation kind of deal. Where there's some horses that's like, well, what you taught me doesn't really apply now because that's not what everybody does. So, you know, I can get on this horse, and she's the same horse that I rode a couple months ago, and I love that. Stop. Well, she didn't get the memo for the stop, so that's why I took a hold of her. And we're going to rock it back just a little tiny bit. A little more. So this needs work. Good. Let's see if we can do a... Can you do it, Muffin? Oh, I feel that back end moving a little bit. There, that was a nice couple steps. Good girl. Let's back up a little bit. I want the outside hind leg to stay put. As you can see, that is not happening. So I'll just keep working at this. There. We had 2 good steps. Did you see that? Good girl. Do our little box exercise and bring her over. And then we'll go forward a little bit. And then back over, other way. This is an excellent exercise. Oh, see how the shoulder wants to lead? You want the whole body. it back. There, good girl. Now, I'm going to bring her to the stool. I'm going to get off at the stool, and then I'm going to get back on. And then I'm just going to sit there for a moment because that'll be good for her. Oh, I see my camera's still on. That's good. Hi, kitty. Do you want to come up here too? Well, come on up. This cat loves to be on the horses. Can't believe it. So that's another thing. I haven't gotten bucked off yet from having horses give rides to cats. Okay, so I'm going to just stand here for a second. Kitty's going to take over. Look at, she lays down right away. She's like, yeah, this is where I belong. Me and my pony. You're going to have to move, though, so I can get back on. I need to get back on. Excuse me. Excuse me. There. Good girl, Muffin. So that time she just there, and she's quiet. Where before, when I got on her, I could feel her kind of on the muscle. And what I mean by that is like she was ready to go, like right now. But Muffin's like that. She just, you know, she's got this work ethic, like let's go, let's do something, let's do something. And so she just needs to be reminded that. This cat is so funny. So I need to make sure that when we do get on her, I need to remind everybody that when we get on, let's, you know, count to 20. So you get on, you count to 20, and you don't go anywhere for at least that long. It's good to just sit there and have a conversation. So, speaking of that, got my cat. So, can you guys tell me, did that work out? Could you hear me? Can you still hear me? Oh, thank you guys. Yes, you heard me, everything throughout the whole thing? It worked out good? Yay, I'm so excited. This is awesome. I wonder how much battery I have left on my phone. It's gonna get even better as you could hear the hoofbeats. Oh boy. Wow. So I really gotta be careful what I say or do, hey? Let's see. Cool. Oh, good. It didn't buffer at all. That's awesome. You couldn't hear, let's see. Rex, you couldn't hear the singing. Is that because I said that I sing sometimes when I ride? Maybe that's what you're talking about? Because I do that. So people have, you know, anytime that I'm maybe a little bit, if I'm a little bit nervous, oh, the sun is like the one little ray of sun that we have is right in my face right now. Here, let's see. There. But if I'm ever on a horse, though, this is one of my tricks is if I'm ever on a horse and I'm nervous, I start singing. And or if I'm like brushing them or doing anything, I start singing because it makes me relax, because if I'm nervous, I tense my jaw. And so use that as a trick. If any of you, because I know a lot of people, you know, have the same problems as I do, you get into a situation where you feel a little nervous. You feel a little nervous, and it just really works. So I got a lot of different songs that I'll sing, a lot of random stuff. So yeah. All right. Well, any questions? Do I realize I'm singing? Yeah, I have to do it on purpose sometimes. Like I will like, you know, because I catch myself and I'm clenching so bad, and my jaw will actually start to hurt because I'll clench so hard. And I know that if you're clenching in your jaw, it travels down your back and throughout your whole body and through your arms, everything. And so you're taking all that tension and you're putting it directly into your horse. So I don't want that. And think about it, if your horse is tense and their jaw's all clenched, that's not good. So you don't want that. So what do you guys think of Muffin? Are you guys as in love with her as I am? Because she's just wonderful. I really, really love her. Beck. So it's funny because you guys saw Beck the other day, and she was, or you guys saw Tova the other day in the video with Sally. Oh my gosh, that whole video just cracks me up. If you're here right now and you did not watch the Sally video the other day, please watch it, because everything about that entire video had me cracking up. Like I thought about it afterwards, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such a redneck. Like, there's so much stuff in there. It was so funny. But so here's my daughter singing Achy Breaky Heart. And then later on in the house, she's like, I love rock and roll. And she's just going to town on that. And I'm like, what? My kid loves music. It's just like me. So cool. So yeah, I really love Sally too. She's pretty awesome. Carrie, thanks for commenting. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't know what I'm going to bring to you tomorrow. I haven't decided, but now that this works, I'm pretty stoked about that. So I'll make sure to, and now this has been going for, I'll have to kind of time it and see how long it's been. And then I know that I'll be able to, ride for a certain amount of time. Now, I didn't catch what the person's name is, but you just commented saying, who is Sally? Go to my playlists, find Sally's playlist. You have to check it out, okay? So thank you, Sue. I'm so glad. This is awesome. This is really working out really good. So I'm very excited about that. This is just gonna open up so much more opportunity for so many things. I'm very excited about it. So, all right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? All right. Bye.